Hi everyone! Welcome to another episode of Nathan's 3D Factory. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to design a telescoping sword, wand, whatever you want to call it, right? So, to start out, I'm going to get rid of this default cube. Next, Shift A, cone. Okay? Now, what I want to do is that I want to increase this radius to 25. And then, you'll notice this radius 2. I want to get that to 24. And then for the depth, I want to increase this to 150. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put the fill type from Ngon to nothing. At least for the moment, okay? I'll show you what I'm going to do in a moment. So, now I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to get Shift S, cursor to selected. And then what I want to do is that I want to set origin to 3D cursor. And I'm going to clear the transformation by doing F3, clear location. I tried like the Alt G like they said. Let's go to Shift C as well. So we redo the cursor location, okay? So now I have this tube, and this tube has a taper to it, right? Because it's thinner at the top than it is at the bottom. So now what I want to do is that I want to get a solidify modifier on this. Solidify. Okay. Now I want to put the thickness at 2 on this, and I want to do even thickness. And I want this to go in the opposite, I want to do this in the negative offset direction, right? So now we're going to have a 2 millimeter thickness on this. So here we go. And then I'm actually going to add the vertices on the bottom here. So I'm just going to take all these and do F. I'm not going to worry about doing these into quads or anything like I would typically do, right? So we're going to keep this pretty simple for now. Okay, so now we have this hollowed out object, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate by doing Shift D, escape. Now, I'm going to set this to 3 on the thickness, and then I'm going to turn off fill. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this. Now, I'm going to go over this vertex and I'm going to press L to select all the linked. And you'll notice right here, this is going to go X vertices. Now I'm going to switch to face selection mode for a moment. And then this face at the bottom, I'm actually going to delete. I want to keep this totally hollow. And I don't want any bottom faces on this object now. And I probably ought to show you as well, if I go into wireframe, you'll notice that we have an offset here as well as all the sides. And we're going to do that. So, we're going to delete faces on this. Okay, we're going to go back into our solid view right here. Now, if I were to tab out of edit mode and then go into a solidify right here, I'm going to set it to 2 again. Now, notice it's going outward. We don't want it to do that, right? We want it to go inward. I mean, we have our offset to -1, but yet it's going outward. So to fix that, go back in, select everything by pressing A, and then Shift N. Okay, there we go. I want to have this even thickness in case if anything kind of gets wonky on this, okay? So, now I have a duplicate of this that's going to be exactly offset inside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this a couple more times, okay? So I'm going to do this just once right here. I'm going to do the same method that I did before. 3, don't fill. Let's see. Okay, XV. Oops. Okay. I forgot to apply this before doing this. Okay, so that's what we do. Okay, LXV. Okay. Do another solidify. And you just keep going with this until you get down to your last tip of the sword, right? Or wand, however you want to call it. Okay. Even thickness. Shift N. So what that does is that just it gets all the normals to face outward. Okay. And then Shift D. 3. No fill. Apply. L. XV. Add modifier. Solidify. 2. Shift N. There we go. Even thickness. Okay. And now I'll do one more. 3. Turn off the fill. Apply. Okay. XV. Okay. And Shift N. And solidify. 2. Okay. And now, as I say, I think I want to make this one my last one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the tip of the sword right here. Okay. So then, there we go. I want that. All right. F. And now, if you look in here, see all these items here. So these are all sitting at the same layer because what I did was that I deleted that bottom one, bottom face, I should say. And then everything's sitting the same at the top as well. But now, this one, now I have the tip with this now, so it's not hollowed out, right? And now, if I go back into solid, see we got that. Everything looks good here so far. Okay, I want to shade these to smooth. Do the same for this. Okay, now what I'd like to do is I'd like to have it so that the hilt here, the part we're going to grab onto, is going to be a little different. Okay, and so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to apply this modifier, and then I'm going to go into my edit mode. I'm going to change this to vertex, move, rotate, scale. I want to have all these applied, or all these active, I should say. I'm going to go into here, and then I'm going to have this so that this ring right here, or this loop, is going to be the same scale as this one. So now I'm going to do S, not Z, so Shift Z. Okay, there we go. So now you still keep the taper inside, but now you have a straight cylinder on the outside. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a couple of loop cuts. And then I'm not going to worry about scale on these. G, Z, or like if they're the exact same depth, G, Z. I can make this a little bit offset from each other, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 for face select. I'm going to do Alt, ES Shift Z. Okay. Do the same thing here. ES Shift Z. Okay. And then next part, I am going to actually going to do S Shift Z again. I want it a little bit more toward the bottom here. So it's got a little bit bigger size down here. Okay. And then I want to give it some kind of a comfort grip on this. So I'm going to go to 2, which is edge select. I'll get those, and then I'm going to do Control B so that I can bevel these. And then I'm going to take my segments so that now they're going to be 3. Okay. Now, next thing I want to do is that I'd like to have some places to kind of like identify where my fingers are going to go on this. So I'm going to go, let's see, it was, okay, we got loop cuts there. So that's going to be 3 loop cuts. Now I want to change that to 7 on that. Okay. And then that way I can kind of put bevel outward and inward on this, okay? So I'm going to go here, here, here. And so these are going to be scaled a little bit outward. S, Shift Z. Okay. And then I'm going to do Control B on this. All right. And then I'll do the same thing on these. Alt, Shift Alt actually with that. Shift Alt, and then Control B for our bevels. And then we get kind of a comfort grip on that. Okay. So there you have it. There's the hilt right there. Okay. So now I can tab out of that. I can go ahead and save this. Okay. All right, make a new folder here. Okay. Sword. Okay, I'll just call it that. Sword. Okay. There we go. So we got that saved, and so finally then we're just going to export this to STL. So we're going to take all these objects that we just made right here and just export those. Make sure you do selection only, and then it'll already apply the modifiers as you get into that. That's what you want. Export STL, and then there you have it. So let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And make sure to put a like on this video so that we can keep the content going and we keep our search engine results up. And thank you so much for watching Nathan's 3D Factory. Have a great day, guys.